out there. It's been raining for a while.
You are the first person, actually, to trial the new instant replay system on this.
Oh, let's have a look.
The producers have been, well, we can't see something at the moment, unfortunately, but when you came off, we had the instant replay of you wiping out.
Oh, excellent.
So I think
slow-mo?
It wasn't in slow-mo, unfortunately, but we saw it all again in glorious slow motion. We've got the 140s underway with that. Maybe Ash Barnes possibly that went down on the first corner. So, what was he saying, Darren? The conditions are a bit tricky out there for actually one of the top riders. You went down, of course, so it can happen to anyone.
Yeah. It's you know, if you just sort of try and push on that little bit and brake that little bit later and try and get off it a bit earlier, you're carrying a bit more speed, and it's sort of, you know, it takes a little while to adjust to that different pace. So, but I was just going too fast. It was my own fault. No one else to blame.
So congratulations, Darren. Thanks a lot for coming along.
We'll be trying in the next one.
We'll see you again later on. Good to see you're okay. So that's Darren Savage, who wiped out quite spectacularly in that opening race. But good to see he's okay and in good spirits. We'll see him a bit later on. Ryan Frost now starting to break away slightly as they make their way around the final corner. But Jack Worth is still there. He cannot shake off Jack Worth in second place. George Hopper third, Ash Barnes in fourth position. Still incredibly close battle between the top four. Jack Bednarek still in fifth place. Liam Quayle, Max Bartle going through in seventh position. Kira Williamson, Joe Duggan, Bailey Harker now through to ninth place with Joe Duggan and Zach Shelton rounding out the field.
Just saying we had a bit of a comms issue there. I think the mic wasn't working. Just want to say Jack Worth having a fantastic day today, and I think if we were given a Rider of the Day trophies out, I'd be guessing that one definitely.
Just cutting back to the 150s, we've got Robert Cox with a shout here about in a bit more detail. Got the pump jet on the carb and the mapping on those CRFs on the ignition systems. So you can change the power curve and you can tone it down as well. Oh, back on track though. We got trouble with
Jack's
one of our... Jack Worth, and the commentator's curse there.
I need to stop doing that, don't I?
So poor Jack Worth is running so well, but small mistake. Drops the bike, so there we see on the track, that's Jack Worth, the marshals just flagging the riders because he's in quite a prone position there. And poor Jack Worth, what a shame for him. That changed things at the front though. That means that Ryan Frost leads the way and George Hopper.
And that's Zach Shelton down again.
Zach Shelton as well, so problems for some of our front runners. Jack Bednarek went down to 8th position as well, so he had a bad lap there as well.
And that lets Ian Quell up to 4th place, our Isle of Man rider. I know William's not too keen on the wet weather, which is surprising, saying he lives on an island in the Irish Sea. So he would get used to it, but he's not too keen on wet weather, but he seems to be going okay.
And here we see an action replay.
That's a cracking move down the inside to that last right-hander. Ash Barnes goes down the inside of George Hopper.
So you just saw Jack Worth just seem to lose the back end momentarily. So Ryan Frost, your new race leader, Ash Barnes in second, George Hopper in third. And Ilian Quayle, of course, the rider who doesn't like the wet, he's straight into 4th place. Max Bartle and Kira Williamson, here they are on the screen now, just going through past the finish line. They're having a great battle for 5th position. Kira has a look, but can't quite get through. Max Bartle fighting his way through. Bailey Harker has dropped down to 8th place as Jack Bednarek goes through in 7th. And here we see Kira Williamson trying to close up on Max Bartle, the 5th place rider.
Just keep an eye on these front runners. Ash has managed to gap George by about half a second, and he's catching up to Ryan. So he's definitely got his bit between his teeth today.
Ryan Frost makes his way through the chicane up towards the final corner. And like Matt said, Ash Barnes is really starting to close up. We've got about 3 laps to go in this race. And Ryan Frost is really closing up. A shout here from Paul Baxter saying he's hoping to get him in his ladder bike and join it next year if it all goes well.
Which class are you going to be running in, Paul? Let us know.
We'll keep an eye out then for Ash Barnes in second place because he is really starting to close up on Ryan Frost. They close up under braking going into the far hairpin. Oh, yellow flags up though. Somebody wipes that spectacularly just past the finish line here.
That looked like Kira Williamson to me.
Maybe. So one rider goes down in third place. Rider's okay, gets back into the race. Here come the leaders. Oh, look how close Ash Barnes is getting to Ryan Frost to go into the chicane. Oh, and I think Barnes tries to have a look there under braking.
It shows the amount of work that Ash has been putting in over the season. He's been taken on by the Superlights team, which is the same team that Matt Bolson runs with, under the guidance of Steve Cardin. And Ash has been coming to pretty much every one of the BMB track days, and he's been working with Matt and the other riders in the team. And it shows that the work he's putting in has really come to fruition because, yeah, we all know that Ryan's an absolutely hugely talented rider, and he's right on his rear wheel in these really quite difficult conditions.
2 laps to go in Jnr SM 140, and Ryan Frost knows that Ash Barnes is there, riding defensively down the inside, making Barnes go on the outside line. But Ash Barnes has got the drive out to the hairpin, tries to go on the outside, but Ryan Frost gets more drive, might be slightly more grip on that racing line. Oh, but Ash Barnes goes down. Oh, the back end goes down, and he looks dejected. He's trying to get some help, I think. Barnes is all right, but oh, what a shame for Ash Barnes. Small mistake there. The back end just washed out on him at the hairpin. In the corner, sorry, at the end of the straight, I should say. He's wedged in the tyre barrier, but looks like he's going to get himself sorted out. Here we go. We'll see the replay here. And Barnes, oh no, the front went on him.
Yeah,
just on the apex.
And he could have done nothing about that.
That, of course, is the danger of the riding in these conditions. No matter how well you ride, you can just catch up when you least expect it.
And that right-hander is actually quite a difficult corner because it's such a late apex. And if you go too tight, you know, you're running wide and losing that momentum down the hill. But obviously trying to keep on that racing line, he's managed to tuck the front. It's such a shame because Ash had a fantastic race.
He looks a bit dejected crossing the line. Now Ash Barnes back in the race in 5th position, which means George Hopper's through to 2nd. The man in your screen now, though, Ryan Frost. That's the corner where Barnes went down, of course, but no problem so far for Ryan Frost.
It was Max Bartlett went down on the chicane.
So Max Bartlett going down on the chicane.
He's back in run now.
9th place. Race of attrition then in this Jnr SM 140 race. Plenty of incidents, but nothing at all bothering Ryan Frost. He comes round the final corner, and all being well, he should take the checkered flag. There he goes, round the final corner, and Ryan Frost is your race winner. George Hopper had a relatively quiet race, but he'll come through in 2nd position. Good strong race there for George Hopper in 2nd.
Yeah, it's surprising. George didn't really seem to push on. Obviously, he was running in the top 3 and got a 2nd place, but he didn't seem to be really pushing in that race.
But Hopper then staying out of trouble, has to be said, though, finishing in 2nd place. Iliam Quayle, great result for him there, fighting through to 3rd place with Kira Williamson eventually. Drama field race there, she comes through in 4th place. Ash Barnes just behind Jack Worth, so those 2 front runners having trouble. Great ride there, though, for Kira Williamson, who was fighting away in the midfield earlier on.
Brilliant.
Of course, with 1 or 2 of the front runners dropping out of contention.
And Iliam gets a podium. Iliam Quayle in the 3rd, he gets a podium, and he doesn't like the wet. So if you stay on the bike, you get decent points.
Well, it just goes to show, doesn't it? Of course, if you just stay out of trouble and ride a clean race, you can get yourself some decent points in these. There we see Ash Barnes lining up, getting ready to go, getting last-minute instructions. The last few riders on the grid. And, well, looks like Bailey Harker's got the bike running, so he's going to let the pack go, I think. The race starts. And off they go. I'm just looking now to my commentary points. We just saw Bailey Harker on the side of the track there, so he rejoins the race right at the back of the field, although one rider also left behind on the line there.
Max Bartle.
Max Bartle in trouble at the start. Let's see. So Ash Barnes, Ryan Frost, Zach Shelton, George Hopper, all very close indeed. But now somebody's breaking away at the front, which looks like that could be
Ryan Frost, followed by George
Oh,
Hopper.
somebody goes down in about 5th place there, wiping out on the hairpin. That's
Jack Worth.
Isn't it? Oh, so he's not been his day in the
Pit bikes,
is it? He's been on top form in the mini GPs, but hasn't quite been able to string it together in the pit bikes today, although he's okay and should get back into the race. Just trying to get him picked up around the back of the circuit there, but Jack Worth out of contention in his early stages.
Just watching Ryan come through that complex down the hill, the back end just stepped out just slightly. He managed to catch her, not lose too much drive.
Ryan Frost breaking away slightly at the front from George Hopper in 2nd place. And here we see Jack Worth, turning tight into the corner. The back end just steps out. Quite a nasty tumble there, to be fair, but looks like he's all right and will get back underway as Ryan Frost now gets closed up on the braking from George Hopper and Ash Barnes. They go up towards the hairpin. This is where Jack Worth dropped the bike on the previous lap. Ryan Frost taking it nice and easy down the inside. Top 4 make their way through safely. So it's Ryan Frost, George Hopper, Ash Barnes and Zach Shelton. All very close. Iliam Quayle ran so well in the first race. Of course, he's fighting it through again. He's up to 5th place. So we'll see if Quayle can get involved in this one as well as the race draws on. Ryan Frost pulling away slightly as they go into the chicane, but still George Hopper in there, Ash Barnes and Zach Shelton in 4th place, coming around the final corner. Iliam Quayle in 5th position, just a bit further behind from Jack Bender. The leaders making their way through with Ryan Frost pulling a small gap now from George Hopper in 2nd place. Hopper coming under some pressure now from Ash Barnes and Zach Shelton just behind in 4th place. But at the moment it looks like Hopper is holding up Barnes. Like Ash Barnes really well, he's lost a bit of time under
drive there coming out of the
lost some time. That could be the advantage.
Zach's come through.
Yeah, Zach Shelton. Just the advantage of Zach Shelton. So Ash Barnes looking strong at the start of that, made a small mistake going into the hairpin and drops to 4th place.
Looks like he's dropped off the pace a little bit. Hope there's not a problem with the bike.
So we'll keep an eye on Ash Barnes, who does seem to be dropping, but yeah, he's already let Zach Shelton really pulling away in that 3rd place. So we'll keep an eye out for Ashley Barnes, see if everything's okay there, because he has dropped down a bit. Meanwhile,
there's a dry line forming.
There is a dry line in that chicane, isn't there? Starting to pop up now, and George Hopper is closing up on Ryan Frost. So the track is starting to dry out.
This is going to be a difficult call now. Last race of the day, I don't think it's dry enough to stick some intermediates on. I think the most of them will stick with wets.
So we're going to keep a close eye on this track because the wind is still blowing on the track, really strongly on the track, and of course lots of riders going round at the moment. And certainly from where we are in the commentary, but you can start to see there is a dry line slowly starting to develop. I don't think it's going to be enough to warrant gambling on tyres, but certainly is dry, especially the chicane near the finish line. It really is dry in that chicane area, and you can see the lap time still dropping all the time as the track dries out. George Hopper, fastest lap of the race was 1 minute 0.794. Let's have a look at the pace when they make their way around again. Ryan Frost, your race leader.
And right on the back of
here they
George
come.
now.
And still the lap time's tumbling. Ryan Frost just outside the 1 minute mark.
Zach Shelton, 1 minute 3.8. Was that the fastest lap of the race?
Yeah, so the fastest lap of the race was Zach Shelton in 3rd place. There he is, number 04, closing up on George Hopper under braking, 1 minute 0.383. And the track, it has been a river for most of the day, but really is starting to dry out very quickly in these late stages. Aided possibly by this strong wind that's blowing on the track as well, which might be helping to dry things out. Bikes still circulating around the track as well. And Ryan Frost starts to pull away. Zach Shelton starts to put the pressure on George Hopper. This is now pretty much the driest part of the track, this chicane area. It's off camber. And
George lost a little bit of drive coming out that left-hander then.
And there, yes, we see Zach Shelton starting to close up, going into the final corner. He's really putting the pressure. 2 laps to go in this race now as Ryan Frost goes through. George Hopper still in second. Zach Shelton in third. 2 laps to go in this race. Ash Barnes a little bit further behind in fourth. Liam Quayle still charging through in 5th place. Jack Bednarek. Joe Duggan in there as well, number 64, fighting away with Kira Williamson in 8th position. Max Bartle, Jack Worth and Bailey Harker rounding out the field a bit further down.
Looks like George man to drop Zach off a little bit.
George Hopper starting to pull away now. And here we see this little battle here with Joe Duggan in the middle there from Jack Bednarek and Kira Williamson. That is just behind there, number 114. There's Kira going through.
I don't know what happened with Ash. Just seemed to have that little bit of a moment. After the first couple of laps, he's dropped right off the pace.
Ash Barnes just on the edge of this battle for the top 3 as Ryan Frost goes through. There's the battle now. There's Joe Duggan, Jack Bednarek and Kira Williamson.
It can be very difficult though. When you're running with the pack, you kind of get dragged along, and if you lose that connection after a couple of corners, you just seem to drop off the pace a little bit, and it's a lot harder to fight back to get back into contention.
This is the thing, of course, you've got that huddle of riders battling for the lead. If you're out of that somewhat, it's almost like a peloton almost. If you break away from that towards the back, it was around the outside there. Joe Duggan battling with Kira Williamson for 7th place. The leaders making their way back towards us around the back of the circuit. Ryan Frost at the moment looking good for victory. Oh, he's gone down. Well, he's just lost the back end. And, well, that's a classic commentator's curse there. He was looking good for victory, and Ryan Frost just lost the back end. Well, Zach Shelton, yeah, he was perfectly poised. We'll get a replay of that in a moment, I think. But Ryan Frost dropping the bike. The back end stepped out. He's back through into 4th place. He was looking good for victory, but right at the finale of the race, it's going to be a race win for Shelton. So Zach Shelton, your race winner. George Hopper in 2nd place. Ash Barnes in 3rd. And the unfortunate Ryan Frost, he was looking strong. Back end just stepped out on him. He has to settle for 4th position. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that in a moment. Liam Quayle will come through in 5th place. And Jack Bednarek, Joe Duggan, Kira Williamson going through 6th, 7th and 8th place. Max Bartle. And here we see, this is what happened to Ryan Frost. Oh, yeah, nothing he could do about that, was there? It was rather unexplained. It's very strange crash.
Could do about it. It literally just came round, just probably the same line he's done lap after lap, but just this time it just decided to let go.
So Ryan Frost going down. It's I have to say, it's a very strange crash from Ryan Frost there. It's really just the back end just stepped out on him.
There is a bit of a dip coming out to that right-hander. There is a slight dip. Whether that played a factor, I don't know.
So late mistake there from Ryan Frost, which means that Zach Shelton takes the win. George Hopper 1.7 seconds down in 2nd place. Ash Barnes, Ryan Frost, Liam Quayle comes through into 5th place. Jack Bednarek, Joe Duggan, Kira Williamson, Max Bartle, and Jack Worth in 10th place, with Bailey Harker in 11th, rounding out the field. So great win there, though, for Zach Shelton, who